Yeah, we're all in
there.
Yeah, you actually will need your phone.
Alright.
You're gonna get yelled at regardless.
Yeah, we're all yelling at Mason. Welcome to the Effing Movie Podcast! Season 2 wrap-up. I'm your host today, Dylan Camacho. Today with me, Nathan Price and Mason. It's the same three people who are almost always on the show.
Never tired of us.
How do you not know this already, except for the times where we have special guests or... That's it. No, that's the only time it actually happens.
That's only been like once.
That one time.
One time. Hey, maybe more to come. Stay tuned at the end of the episode to find out. But we're doing a season 2 wrap up, so when you see us all with our cell phones just gracefully out the side of a shot, that's because we've got a lot of stuff to keep up with. We actually have an agenda and a schedule and all of that. Mason, I'm gonna defer to you, buddy, because you're kind of the schedule keeper.
Yeah,
here.
so I got to make the order in which we asked these questions.
A lot of power.
Do you guys want to just go ahead and jump down into it?
Let's just get into the meat and potatoes, buddy.
Alright, so the first category is our favorite song. From all of these, this season's movies, what's you guys' favorite songs? Bryce, you want to go first?
Oh, I would love to. You'll never guess that it comes from an animated movie.
Oh, shocker.
Never would have guessed. But it's actually from the subbed version of Kiki's Delivery Service, and it is the opening song, which is called, and I'm going to butcher this pronunciation, Ryuju no Dingen. And it's this like very boppy kind of song. It sounds kind of like the Beach Boys in a way.
All of that movie is like
I
50s
do-
and carnival.
Yeah. I hadn't even really thought about that song, but I remember that was a pretty good song.
Oh, it was so good. Did you watch the sub?
Yeah.
Yeah, because and that's really how it is. It's so good. It sets up the aesthetic for the movie perfectly. It goes over the OP very well. Because I remember I watched it subbed originally, then watched it dubbed for this, and I remember like thinking like the opening was missing something. I don't remember what. And then I watched the opening again. I was like, that's it. And then I downloaded the song. I've listened to it on repeat. It's amazing. I don't care. That's not by Joe Hisaishi. He does the rest of the score. But yeah, that's easily my favorite. I love that song. So I'll defer to whoever's next. I guess it's Nathan.
I guess I'll grab the reins next. So I feel like it's a bit of a cop-out to say this, but
Oh, he's going to say it.
Sing Street.
Oh no. Oh no. We're on the right track.
Sing Street is like, I mean, was it the only musical we watched this season?
I think so.
I
It was the only one
I
that
think
had
it was the only
original
one.
content.
Yeah, like with its own original songs. And Drive It Like You Stole It was a bop. I mean, it was pretty fucking good stuff, man. And that's the one I would go with. I will say I do have a fondness for shipping up to Boston.
Twice. Twice in that movie.
So many more times than it needed to be.
And like literally like 5 octaves higher.
Yeah.
Somehow, every time.
Yeah, the sound editing was so bad on that.
Like the sound mixer literally was like, I'm putting everything down at like an 8.
Yeah.
And then I'm throwing this thing up to a 10 every time it comes
I had to
on.
turn the movie down, and it freaked me out the first time. That's how much I remember it being loud.
Yeah, it came in like a wrecking ball every time.
And again, it did the same thing in The Departed. That song was in that too, and it was so
That
stupid
was the
loud.
movie, wasn't it?
Yeah, same movie. Yeah. So,
Yeah.
I mean,
But I'm giving it to Sing Street.
yeah,
Of course. Just say you're doing the same thing.
I'm doing the same thing.
Yeah.
It's a really good song.
It is.
I mean,
Yeah, and-
I guarantee you, Mason won't pick it though.
I won't, because I do like the production value of that song in that movie. They put the whole video with it. That was the most upbeat part of the whole movie. It was the whole prom scene. I'll agree with you guys. It was really good. Mine's actually going to be Petey's song from Fantastic Mr. Fox.
You're gonna be hearing that a lot from him.
He might get
I'm
brought
sure.
up. Mr. Fox might get brought up a couple times. But
What is?
it was the one. It was Beavis Bunsen Bean. It was Mr. Bean.
It's really
Is that the
memorable.
one where he's like sitting there
just-
like playing
Yeah.
the banjo or whatever?
okay.
And he's telling like their whole story, and he's rhyming really weirdly, and it's just this flowing kind of song. It's pretty memorable.
Yeah.
I'd like to give it to Drive It Like You Stole It, but that song stands out to me a little bit more. So,
I agree.
all right, our next category is our favorite score from the movies.
Ooh.
Any of them stand out to you all? Dylan, you want to go first?
I want to start on this one because I'm over here.
You want to steal my thunder?
I'm gonna steal
Now that
Nathan's
you know
thunder
what it is.
because he stole mine. Our music tastes are lining up on this one. It's got to be The Fountain, guys. Like,
Oh, I was expecting Inception.
I was close on it.
Yeah.
I love Inception. No, the score is so much more than just that. That's just the movie trailer sound.
Yeah,
That's sound more than the score. I mean, it's definitely in there, but wah, yeah. Hey, to be fair, it's the OG wah.
Oh, yeah.
So it was the one that started doing it. So
Yeah.
shout out to Inception, which score I do love. Mombasa as a song slaps. I put that in my workout playlist. I keep taking it off Spotify. I keep putting it back on. But pound for pound, Inception's a super great movie, and the score matches it. I cannot say the same about The Fountain. The Fountain is a bad movie with like above and beyond for the movie score, and I think that for me just put it over. Like I was on the fence between those two, but then I literally was just listening to it again just to hear some of that stuff, and the dark, broody, good orchestral classic stuff is so rich, and I'm like, why did this get made for The Fountain?
Yes.
Oh man.
Yeah, this for me it's The Fountain as well. I'm just gonna go ahead and grab it.
Yeah,
Because
take
I
it.
agree
Go for it.
that
It's
the
not The
score
Fountain.
is punching way above the weight of that movie. That movie is very flawed, not the greatest experience.
Yeah.
And it's so much so that it does almost distract you from the fact that it's got a fantastic score.
Yeah.
So listening to it outside of the movie helps a lot. It's something that I would like throw into rotation with like the Deus Ex Machina soundtracks and that kind of
Yeah.
stuff. Like you throw that in there, you're not even gonna notice like what part you're listening to from what media, but it's a solid one. Yeah, it's one of my favorites. So
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
Everybody's looking at me.
Yeah,
so
Bryce.
I'd love to, because this is the one I felt the strongest about. We had all these categories, and this is the one that, like, when I saw it, I already knew immediately what I was going to say. And another animated movie, more Studio Ghibli. But this one, I feel like it's entirely justified. The score for Princess Mononoke is beautiful. It hits those soaring notes whenever it needs to. It gets real low when it's like real low points in it. It gets real tense when there's those action scenes. And again, like I said, Joe Hisaishi does the same work, and I've been dying to see him. And he goes around and does performances, symphonies throughout the world. He hasn't been to the U.S. It probably won't be for a little while, considering what's going on. But I mean, I would kill to see this performed live. It's beautiful. I listen to it all the time, and easily my favorite score of this season or the last, or I'm sure any in the future. I doubt anything's on top of it for me. This movie score is amazing.
Yes, I'm going to use Nathan's expression here. This movie's soundtrack was out kicking its coverage by a good margin, and I'm going to get yelled at for this, but it's The Great Gatsby.
Oh, God!
Disgusting.
The score in The Great Gatsby is so good.
Oh,
it also
man.
had some pretty original content, along with, like, you know, the
I
jazz.
can't stop.
Except
that
for
was
Flux Pavilions.
God.
I can't stop. I'm glad they got that out of the way early.
that kicks it in the nuts and brings it just so down.
But it had time to heal from the nut kick.
But
Oh,
to
my
Mason's
God.
credit, it does have some really good
There- bangers.
There is some good
yeah,
songs.
there's some, but
Yeah.
you're
It
taking.
bangers.
You can't pick and choose. Like that one brings it down
I
so
like
hard.
that one. Personally, it was you guys that didn't like
Because
No,
this
we really
movie's
didn't.
like in the 1800s or something, and then you have this movie.
1800s?
If
I
you-
don't care.
It's like
if you
19
can like step back from that, it is a good score.
It's a lovely soundtrack.
I find it weird to call it a score though, because it is for the most part just songs.
It is. It's
Right.
party songs.
Yeah,
And it's
and
like
that,
swing
like,
songs.
To,
And
that's not your traditional score.
Nah,
That's not
right.
like your orchestral background
Yeah.
accompaniment. No,
Us
these things were
classical
punching
folks
in.
over
Those
here.
these songs were meant to be like in your face and just as much as part
Oh,
of
they are
the
in your face,
story
yeah.
as anything else. It wasn't accompaniment to like build emotion or anything in the background.
Yeah.
You know, and while I disagree, I defend Mason for picking it still in that, again, the whole thing isn't solid. It definitely isn't. There's some potholes in that road, but there are some times when they nail, like, whenever they're going to the little, like, the bar club area for the first time, and they have that little Jay-Z, like...
That
room.
was cool.
Like that,
I-
yeah.
I'm
Little moments they nail it, and whenever they nail it, it made so much more of a difference in that film. but then the film kept doing.
All right,
things.
you got the defense here. I'm going on the attack because this reminds me exactly of Good Will Hunting. All right, here we go. I'm wrapping it back around.
Boy, I hope you can dig yourself out of this.
Because just
right.
like the movie month where it was like we picked the movies for Mason, and Mason's like, I just like Good Will Hunting the best. Like I feel like you're just picking just because like I like this song, I like this song, I like this song, and it's just like, oh, that's my favorite score because it has good songs in it rather than like going with the movie. Because like I could put in like MGMT or whatever that you like and like put it in The Great Gatsby, and it doesn't mesh well at all. But you'll be like, I like the songs though.
Well, we were just talking about how The Fountain doesn't really mesh well with the movie. Like,
no,
well,
that's
the music does mesh.
It goes
with
with
it. It's
the
just that it's
storyline
like
that
it's so much better than
Yes.
Right, it escalates the tone of the film, but the film is
Still
not
bad.
Yeah, the tone of the film matches the music,
I think
but
that
the film has just
this
been bad quality.
Is a similar situation where like I don't care about this story much at all, and I thought I did whenever I picked it.
But Tobey Maguire's in it.
The director
And
didn't
you love
care
him.
much
Hey,
either.
I'll pick Pawn Sacrifice next. I swear to God. I will.
No
It's a
idea what
good
that is.
movie.
All right, so Price just wants to be salty for Mason's way of thinking,
All
but we've
right,
got more
let's
categories
move
here, so
on.
keep moving on.
All right, favorite scene. Nathan, you go first this time.
Okay, so there's a couple of them that I guess I would mention. The cell,
The cutting up, I bet.
No, I mean that one is pretty iconic, but the moment when she first meets him and he's like sitting on the throne in the big room with like the
Scary.
huge purple
Yeah, you did
like
love that scene.
drapery
That like is
and then
attached
he like
to him.
stands up and it's like all hooked to his back and he's walking down the stairs and it's just like unfurling from around the whole length of the room.
That movie was a trip.
Yeah.
That was a very cool scene. But as far as just a scene that I think was really good and definitely worth being thrown in here, I would also say The Night is Short, the final play, was pretty great.
Yeah.
It
Funny
it
you
was
mention
tying in so many different things that have been going on throughout the movie, and that one's going to ultimately be my pick because I found that very enjoyable.
Well, I'm going to tag team with Nathan here and go ahead and skip because that's mine too. I'll go ahead and say my second was going to be when everything happens in The Departed. When everybody starts blasting.
Then we all started blasting.
And like that double cross here. But that wasn't my pick. It's The Night is Short, the play at the end because the song is great, and then it just like it ties in all these threads that have been going together the whole movie and into this play, and it's like the little love story is perfect. Like him, like the whole time, like Dawn Underwear or whatever is like that's not romance. I know what romance is. He has this false sense of idealism of what romanticism is because like he wants this girl because they both got bonked by apples.
Bonk.
And then finds out it's a guy and he's still like, all right, well, I guess that's what it is. And then finally fish come out of the sky from that tornado earlier and hits the director and him. And then they wind up kissing and just everything about that scene is just perfect. Again, I love the movie. I kind of wish it would have ended around here. The last part is good. But like it still felt a little bit tacked on, like maybe do that earlier or something, because this felt like a really good conclusion.
Yeah.
Which I still love the movie, but
Which is why I think of it as the final play. And
Exactly.
To me, that's kind of where it ends, and then there's this like epilogue of like what happens to
Exactly
our
what it
quote
was.
main
Yeah.
character.
100%.
Mind if I go, Dylan?
Yeah, go ahead, buddy.
Alright, so I have an honorable mention I'll say first is the suicide scene from 3 Billboards. As he is writing the note, and yet you really don't know that he's writing a note, he's sort of got that monologue while he's walking out to the shed, and then all of a sudden you see him pull out a gun. It's just, and then everything after that, the wife finding the note, and then townspeople understanding what's happening and what's. I think that part was really good because for a movie that was very like sort of dark toned as it wasn't, it wasn't expected for that to happen.
Yeah.
But the scene that I'm going to pick is the brothers scene around the dinner table.
Oh,
I think-
gosh, Mason.
I just love that he picked a brother scene.
I know. Don't worry, it'll be the last one.
Oh, man.
But I think that scene is so tense, and you could cut the tension with a butter knife while you're watching all of these people just try to have a calm, collective dinner, and that little girl, Bailey Madison, just is a tyrant.
I've already attacked you for one
I
movie.
will-
I'm not doing it again.
I love that scene. If there's anything I could take away from that movie, it is that scene and that scene alone. And the kitchen scene too, but well, let's not get into that. Anyways.
Oh boy.
Yeah.
Honorable mention for the kitchen scene, just because I remember that's a scene.
That scene was all, he was smashing everything.
I just do want to go back here and say, remember when Mason picked Brothers and he was like, I know you all are going to like that. And we ripped it.
Kobe! Have you ever seen that?
We destroyed
That
him.
gif, I can't remember what team it is, but the guy like shoots it, and then he like turns around, he's like this, and you see the ball go doo 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 doo, and it bounces out, and he's already facing the camera doing this.
Yeah.
Anyways,
And then we attacked Mason for it, and then the camera wasn't recording. We got to do it 2 times.
Yeah.
So it's definitely memorable in that sense that Mason's like, I know you all are going to like it, and we just destroyed him.
It's why we don't actually celebrate Price's birthday, because this year he already just got it for that.
Yeah,
he just
yeah.
got
Oh, yeah.
2 repeats on that one. But without further ado, my favorite scene has to be the sweet anime intro scene in Kill Bill 1. Because
Oh, yeah.
as it does a great job just introducing a character, doing like such a cool cultural thing where it just says, all right, this movie's a fucking anime short film for like, it's like a pretty elongated scene, admittedly.
I forgot about that one, yeah.
Right, but Quentin Tarantino scenes are all mini movies within themselves, and
Yeah.
you get used to that. But no, yeah, that scene in itself, just start to finish, is just a great intro to a character, and it shows just start like, all right, here's how we got from here to here. Just awesome. I remember thinking like the first time I ever like watched that scene, that's when I was like, I'm gonna start watching more from this guy, because I'm just stoked that I'm getting to see an anime scene just right in the middle of this pretty, action-rific movie. But yeah, that one right there.
It's such a good character, too.
Oh, yeah.
Easily the best. I still think the best antagonist of Kill Bill. Even more so than Bill himself, I'd say, because, I don't know, she felt so threatening that the
Oh.
Asian boss, I forgot her name.
Ren is
I
Lucy Liu. Yeah.
really liked her. Even though they gave so much build up to Bill, I still think that, in my opinion, I liked her a lot.
She's got a lot more flavor to her. I wouldn't fight anybody on that one if that was their favorite. But next category.
The
Mason's
next,
keeping us going.
I know. The next category is a movie that you wanted a sequel for. You guys want me to go first? Real quick.
I guess.
Sure.
So,
take it.
this one, I didn't really lean in like I did last season on this one.
Was it flipped last time?
It was flipped last time, and it also got Etsnade. So I had a pick, and then they were like, let's just not do that one. I was like, totally. No, that's totally fine. I didn't care. I don't want it. But anyways, this one is, the 2 that I'd like to see would be either Train to Busan or Fantastic Mr. Fox. Luckily, I am getting one for Train to Busan. But I'm going to pick Fantastic Mr. Fox just because, like, I don't know what happens after they're dancing in the supermarket. I mean, maybe those farmers continue, their tirade. I don't know.
They were really wanting them.
They were
Yeah.
they were going at all costs.
They blow up like a whole city, pretty much. Sure.
Well, no, underneath the city.
Underneath the city, yeah.
The animals blew up the city. But yeah, I'd say probably Fantastic Mr. Fox.
All right, I'm gonna take it from you because I was last time.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, let's not go in order.
Yeah.
Let's be animals.
That's
Oh yeah.
So,
I got that reference. Wait, is that what we do in the shadows
That's
or
the badger.
Fantastic Mr.
That was
Fox?
the badger.
Either, really. Honestly, I'm gonna go brick on this one because
I don't want to hear that.
I'm so
No,
mad
no,
you
no, no,
got
no.
brought up somehow.
So here
In
it
a
is.
positive connotation.
It doesn't necessarily need to be Joseph Gordon-Levitt again. I just want more of that overly dramatic high school crime world, right? Like, whatever, Joseph Gordon-Levitt and his class can graduate, and I just want to see that be perpetuated. It's like, this is the most rated R Recess remake you're ever gonna get, and I love it. Like, that whole little interesting war concept, just putting in new characters or something like that, maybe seeing like, just seeing more politics into that. I thought that was great. Like, I would totally take another movie in that world, and even have Joseph Gordon-Levitt come back as just like whatever, a crime lord or something. Make
Yeah.
a spin if you want to bring him back. I don't care. I'm open to the possibilities. But that one, I really wanted to see another movie in that setting.
That's a weird pick. I like it though.
Mhm.
I mean, it would be definitely different.
So I would say that honorable mention Train to Busan.
Mhm.
As you said, it is going to be getting a sequel. So
Super.
we are getting what we want there.
Yep.
And Fantastic Mr. Fox was one that I was thinking about, like, as things that I could see a sequel being worth seeing.
Before you finish though, I want to ask you two, why Train to Busan as like one you want a sequel to? Because I feel like it's like a zombie movie. It has a start, it has an end. It doesn't really, I don't know, it doesn't feel
think
like it needs
finished
it.
well enough.
Yeah,
I
exactly.
agree.
I'm
And
just curious.
And I wouldn't necessarily push for a sequel on that one. It's just that I guess it was just so good, and you see all these movies getting sequels regardless. So it's like, if I really like the content, if I really like the tempo and the speed of the movie, if they can continue that and make it even like World War Z.
I feel like they had a good handle on how to make a solid zombie movie.
100%. Yeah,
and that's kind of more what I'm thinking is just like, if they're gonna make another zombie movie, it should be them making the zombie movie.
Okay.
It shouldn't be like another 28 days, 28 weeks, 28 years
later. Yeah.
I was just curious because I was thinking more story-wise. That's why it's up to interpretation. But I definitely agree. I mean, I love that movie, of course, and like I agree they did such an original take on the zombie idea. Like I'm still in amazement that all pretty much took place in that train car, and like they did so many different shots.
In a Pringles container.
Yeah.
Basically. Yeah.
So sorry, go ahead. I was just curious.
But another one would be What We Do in the Shadows, but that's going to be a TV show. I don't feel like I have a serious answer to this, because the only other thing that I thought of was it would be funny if The Fountain had a sequel. Because I want the sequel to be that he found he finds immortality, like, at the end. He's not happy that he basically found immortality because he wanted to find a cure for his wife, but his wife dies right as soon as he does actually find that. I think it would be funny to see what happens if he somehow finds a way of bringing her back, and then it turns into a horror movie.
And
it's a time traveling horror movie where it's basically flashing back to a non-real past of Frankenstein and stuff this time. Yeah. Where he's playing Frankenstein in the past and playing some super futuristic Frankenstein.
How much do you think they would give him to make that movie? Do you think the budget would be $6?
Nah.
Listen. We saw what happened. Pulls out a wallet. Here's a $5. Make it, I guess.
Aronofsky, I could see that. I could see him funding it. I could see him just doing it on himself for that one. I mean, he's the one who made it in the first place, and these movies all stay in this kind of weird, dark sci-fi wheelhouse. Not sci-fi per se, but
It's got
I guess it is sci-fi elements.
Sci-fi
it's pretty sci-fi.
Yeah.
Fountain gets sci-fi, but anyway.
Yeah. I doubt
you Fountain too. All right.
I doubt. 100% no. That's all again, low score movies. But anyway, mine is Tropic Thunder. Believe it or not.
Oh God!
Now let me sit you down and talk something.
Tell us how it's gonna happen.
Go ahead.
So I think especially now, I am gonna date this. It's 2020 and the world is just totally terrible. Politics is so divided. Everything has to be so PC. And for something again to come out like this in the year 2020, I think would be great because I love offensive comedy. I love dark comedy, and I think this would be perfectly placed now because. Man, I would just love to see something where maybe they even did blackface. Maybe they bring Simple Jack back. Maybe they do even more offensive stuff like that. I'm fine with that. I think it would be hilarious. I think it'd be perfectly placed right now. Just be you all think you need to be so PC to make movies and just kick them right in the shin or something.
I feel that would be career suicide for one or two A-list actors. But I see what you mean. In these trying times, maybe bring an upbeat thing. Jojo Rabbit was kind of like that. It somehow made a dark comedy.
And people are still upset about that, but Hitler being in there and stuff, which is so stupid because did you watch the movie?
I
don't think they actually did.
You have no legs to stand on with that one.
Yeah. Man, yeah.
Well, most people didn't. I mean, let's be real. They just want to get mad because Hitler.
Yeah.
Hitler and mainstream. They're how dare they? But.
Yeah, still, Tropic Thunder is the one I want. I would really, when I went through the whole list, I would really just like to see another one of these.
The next category is Best World. Best Dystopian World, Best World Period, just whatever world you guys liked from the movies.
I'll grab this one real quick and just say Princess Mononoke is my choice. It's I wouldn't say this is world I would want to live in kind of thing. This is more just a very well thought out and fleshed out world that feels like there is much more to see in it. And there's all these different spirits that represent various things and the whole forest being alive and all that kind of stuff. It was really cool. So I appreciate that. I like that it's taking place in an era of the beginning of modernization and guns and stuff like that. And just that interplay between traditional, old combat with swords and bows and such
weaponry.
coming up against like this new rising empire of gunpowder. Man, that's always an interesting thing to see, and I think they did it pretty well.
Yeah, I totally agree. I like that. I'll go. I would say Night is Short, actually, on this one. I liked how bubbly the world was. I can't say it was realistic, obviously. I mean, it was this wild ride of just these bright, not even pastels, just neon colors of, people were drinking from the moment that movie started to the movie that, to the ending, and I don't know. I don't know what they were on. I feel like it was more than alcohol, but it was a fun world, and I think I'd really enjoy that one more so than most of the rest that we've seen. It was different. So.
Yeah. Price.
All right. Mine was really torn between The Night is Short because, again, I really like that. I really like that optimistic view of life where, like, everybody's a friend.
She was so...
Everybody's just hanging out. Yeah. Just everybody has a story. But...
And if she didn't like him, she just punched him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And nobody was ever really upset about it either. I probably deserve
20
it.
foot, they flew back, but she just punched him, and then that was it. That's good.
If the question was best world you'd want to live in, that's definitely what I would pick. But this is its best world, and like Nathan said, like I probably wouldn't want to live there, and I'd have to go with Paprika for that reason. I really liked how it was so out there, and like there's this concept. I mean, it's almost like Inception-like. Of course, and that like it's about dream stuff, but they come to the real world, and it bleeds through, and for that reason I have to go with Paprika, just because I thought it was just so interesting what they were doing with their world.
I was on the fence on Paprika originally because I was like, well, overall it's a pretty real world other than just the tech, right? Like the technology is kind of what escalates everything else in it. And then after thinking about that a little bit more, I was like, I'm going 2049 on this one. And I said originally before, in the simplest way I could think of it, I'm like, I mean, you get to have Anna de Armas as like a hologram girlfriend at all times. What's not to love about that? Like,
you have to keep a flashlight on you.
That's
all
fine.
It's so dark.
Bro, I mean, whatever. There's flashlights and everything according to this film. But the more I started thinking about it, the more I'm like, all right, so for the everyday folk, if I'm just like an everyday person, not a main character at all, like there's off-world planet travel already. Like that's already a pretty cool thing. The future tech's gone pretty far, but really the only seeming racism stuff going on is against robots. So maybe they figured that out.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know. Like,
You'll roll the dice.
Yeah. Like,
that's always kind of the thing, right? Is like you just need something to unite you
You're right.
against.
Which, whatever, don't hate the bots, but, I mean, we're not hating each other. It didn't seem like there was really war. I mean, the world wasn't super great, but all things considered for a human, looked pretty okay. Like, so, I mean, unless you were getting murdered by a robot, but other than those few except circumstances, the world looked pretty fun. Sci-fi wise, it looked pretty great for an average Joe. So, going 2049, man. Why not?
Yeah. So our next category is most forgettable movie, and I think that it's pretty funny that those movies were just brought up.
Oh boy!
Wow.
Because for me, I'll go first. I had two.
Are we yelling at you again?
So
Probably.
Paprika, not that it was a bad movie, nor was 2049 a bad movie. I don't remember much about those movies besides like Ryan Gosling doing what Ryan Gosling always does.
Remember when he had that
movie.
sweet coat that went over?
Remember
his
that
face?
time that he just looked at you like?
Everybody did that some more.
And not to be mistaken with Blade Runner. Blade Runner I remember a lot better than
That's
I do
so weird
2049. I'll probably give it to Paprika on this one, just because it was. All I remember seeing was like that festival, that parade, like over and over, and then that weird guy like going up into that girl. It was
You
just
can't
weird.
forget that. You never unsee that.
That's
Yeah,
the
I
only
think you
two
can.
scenes that I remember from that movie, and if you quiz me on it right now, I couldn't tell you anything.
I've got an interesting theory for this one, and I want to hijack the reins right after.
Did they Inception to Anatomy or
No.
something?
Is that so? I'm kind of with you on 2049 for the first go because after rewatching it on his, I remember thinking like, wow, there was so much to it, and I'm thinking that those movies, why they're forgettable, is that just so much stuff feels like it's going on per scene that your brain doesn't absorb it, and then whenever you rewatch it, you're like, oh my god, there's still so much stuff, but I kind of am packaging it now.
And now that I'm actually thinking about it, I remember, was it Jared Leto was like the bad guy?
Yeah.
And they had like that scene where like she had the drone thing from her ear.
Oh,
or
yeah,
something.
she's
She was
Wow.
like getting her nails done with some
Right.
kind of like crazy digital art
Yeah.
on them while she was just killing people.
Yeah, predator droning people.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like I remember, I guess, more of that movie now that you said I unboxed it all.
No, yeah, but as you start unboxing, I'm telling you, the second for whatever reason, if and when you ever go back to rewatch 2049, which I don't think
on
you
the
probably will,
background,
it'll be a lot more interesting. But because I stole the reins and I just feel like doing that all on this one, I'm gonna go flipped. I know that was season 1. No, I'm kidding.
It's weird. It's forgettable, but you remember to.
I keep remembering to forget.
That's crazy. I hope the sequel comes out. Please, Paramount, please.
I think for the opposite problem that I just mentioned for your thing, I'm gonna go with the Cell on this one, man. The visuals and stuff are there, but I'm like, yeah, they have a bad dream that they kind of walk into. That's a really simple way to describe it. And then like weird, cool visuals here and there and right here. But then I don't remember any of the context behind it. I remember thinking it's like looking at a painting, and if like the painter stood right next to you and said, "Here's the wonderful story and details behind this," or whatever, and I'd be like, "Cool." And then like a year later, I see that painting again. I'm like, "What the fuck was that about?"
Who was that guy?
Yeah. That's how I feel about The Cell, man. I was like, "Wait, J-Lo was in that movie. Man, J-Lo was looking good in that movie." And then that's pretty much where my brain stops.
Yeah.
I'm like, yeah.
The
So
entrails.
yeah, the entrails. There's a
intestines.
horse at one point.
There's a horse.
There's a super juiced up woman that picks her up or
Yeah.
something like that.
That was a real lady too. That was a
I
real
know.
bodybuilder.
Right, but the strange thing is, I'm like, wait, what were they even doing there to begin with? Were they hunting somebody? What the fuck? And that's where it lands on forgettable for me. Like, it's a painting somewhere, and I'm gonna forget the story.
I'm gonna jab back on this one because I think Good Will Hunting was my most forgettable movie.
That's fine, Mason.
I'm also
Those are
still
the ones.
just a little bit salty about it because it's the thing that beat The Cell.
It did beat The Cell.
Believe me, I'm still salty for you on that front.
I mean, don't worry. It was one of our most forgettable movies. Was The Cell. So I mean,
To be honest, you three had some whoppers.
Oh yeah,
All three of you all.
Pathology hit your buttons and it was just like, I don't believe it, and just signed off on it. Sorry, go ahead, Nathan. This is
Good Will Hunting is one of those ones where it's like you've always heard like, oh yeah, classic movie, like great movie. I like those movies of that era. Most of the time, if they were super popular like that, I tend to find that I just don't care for them.
Yeah,
I don't know if
remember
it's
your
just that they don't age very well, or like what it is. Like maybe if I were watching it during that cultural zeitgeist, it would have meant more to me or been more interesting. But I didn't care much for the movie, and I don't think much of the movie now.
Yeah.
So
I remember
it's my
you
most forgettable.
not being so hot on it.
Well, I'm almost going to make Nathan here. I got this close to making Nathan angry. Because I was going to pick The Cell for exactly the same reason Dylan was. Because it's like, I remember like, wow, that was a really pretty movie. I don't remember anything about the plot. I don't remember anything. And then I was going to pick 3 Billboards just because like I felt like, But then I thought about it, I was like, I actually do remember it. Like that lady gets real mad, her daughter got raped and burned or something. Like, all right, never mind, I do remember this movie.
Don't forget about that part.
What I'm actually going to do is go with Honey Boy. I think this is the first time that movie has been mentioned. Hopefully it will be the last. Because
No, it won't.
that movie, it was just so like boring, and like I feel like I've seen that movie a bunch before. Like just a movie about this actor where it's basically like a biopic of their life and just taking a realistic view of it. I feel like I've seen that before. Maybe I haven't. I don't care. It felt rehashed, and I was just bored the entire movie. Not as bored as some movies I'm going to talk about later, but still pretty bored.
Sure thing.
Sure thing.
I think he's talking about The Cell again, Nathan.
Yeah, you might.
Oh no, I was intrigued.
I know he's gonna
during
talk
The Cell,
about
I was
it.
definitely intrigued. Like the entrails getting rolled up, just all of it. And J-Lo looking good. Yeah, I was there.
So the next category.
Well, we don't do stats.
Oh yeah, we're about a halfway point. Yeah, we wanna check in for
That's
stats.
fun.
Yeah, we can.
Yeah.
Sorry,
kinda-
we could have did that more subtly, but
didn't
Price
know that
insisted
was
on just
our-
yelling
Yeah.
it. So we'll just edit
Well,
No,
it.
that was our.
So-
Mason, did you have it on the schedule to do stats?
I didn't.
He did.
Oh.
I didn't.
So yeah, we've been throwing punches at each other a lot. So as with last time,
Still doing
we're
it.
gonna we're gonna get a little bit into where we all ended up weighing out on our scores and such through this season.
Ready
Talk
for
a
it.
little bit about how it compared to last season. Overall, this season we weren't hitting so hot, but
I believe
I'm
it.
gonna say I am pretty certain it's mostly just because of Price giving enough very low scores to like
That's not something to be proud
to
about,
like
Price.
pull out the entire season.
He Carl Grimes did.
Yeah.
I don't get that, but like I'll justify it later, especially when we go in like movies and stuff, because again, I use 0 to 10, and I had some very strong feelings about these movies this season.
You had some
and you all
strong
know it.
feelings on the first one too, though.
Yeah.
And I gave those low scores.
Yeah, but you've never tanked it like you did
Like
this
Lawnmower
season.
Man was like actually funny in a way. Excalibur was just long, and I might have given it like a 2 or something. So like, there's a reason for it. In these movies, I hated.
Actually blue.
Yeah. So
Yeah, so, I mean, as far as, like, stats that I have specifically for this season, Dylan has, on average, gone down with the scores for the movies that he's been picking.
Thanks, Price.
you don't always blame me. Pick better movies.
Now, he's gone down, but he's only gone down, like, quarter a point on average. Not that bad. Mason, however, has gone down almost an entire point score for this season.
I picked like one teenage drama this season, so you're about to see a lot more next. That's fine.
Yeah.
That's what that means.
Who knew those were the safe picks,
Yeah,
right?
who knew? Those were my aces in the hole.
Not really sure.
So yeah, on the flip of that, Price has managed to bump up about half a score on average for the season,
Surprise, but okay.
which is pretty solid.
Well, because you wouldn't rate your movies for like it probably wouldn't be lower, so you're the one who's.
I'm not gonna pick
Yeah, maybe.
movies I dislike.
Hey, I mean, I do it all the time.
Yeah, I do it all the
Obviously.
time. Often, this season I picked a lot of movies I hadn't even seen before.
I end up giving my own movies some bad scores.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, so my scores have gone down. Mine went down the least as far as the way everybody else's averages have been kind of trending for this season. But yeah, I mean, that's pretty much it. If we look at our kind of overall, things haven't shaken up too much because we did watch a lot more movies in our first round. We've only got 32 that we're pulling from for our discussion for this season of it. And before that, last time we were looking at 46 movies. So there was quite a bit more back there. But yeah, it's just a little interesting that this time around, Price has really gone up quite a bit. And
Wait, was I the highest?
Oh yeah,
Oh,
yeah, yeah. You're the highest
I have a
average for the
crown?
season.
No.
don't
You're
deserve
the
it.
only
Okay,
one.
yeah.
I swear.
You're the only one that averaged above a 7.
Well, again, I don't think that really matters too much because like the purpose of this isn't like to try to get
Yeah,
high scores.
right.
So like,
Yeah.
if you have some stinkers, like that's fine because that's not what we're going for.
I definitely agree with that because that is the way I do
That's been
things.
Nathan's philosophy for
Yeah, I'm
his
just
bread
like
and butter.
70-something movies so far.
it's always just like this will be interesting to talk about.
Yeah.
Will it be good? Probably not.
It's just an interesting concept. Where
I guess, yeah, who was everybody's champions on this one, so to speak? You know, like whose movies got favorably? Did that change from season 1?
I didn't break that out for this season
Okay,
in
okay.
particular, so I don't have stats on that. But yeah, I mean we had 2 10s in this season.
Yeah, those are
Where were the
spicy
2
stuff.
10s?
Inception
Mr.
and Mr.
Fox.
Fox.
We had Inception this rotation?
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
like the second
Oh.
week for the second round.
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, even though this was shorter as far as the number of movies we watched, it certainly feels like it's been a longer period of time.
Yeah.
Quarantine being a big part of that, I would
Yeah.
imagine.
Mhm.
Also true.
But yeah, that's about all we got. We don't really
Yeah.
need to dig too much deeper into that. But yeah, I just thought it was kind of interesting how things have shifted.
I've got my game plan ready. It's
yeah,
no big deal.
yeah, you're ready for the comeback. in
Yeah,
season
totally.
3?
This is gonna be a good comeback. This is
Mason's
just
like, don't call it a comeback, guys. It's gonna be solid.
I think we're going to plateau a little bit because I think like season 1, like we have our lifetime's worth of movies we've watched
Oh, yeah.
and bring them to the table. Like
There was
this
a
is,
lot
like,
of wild cards
there
this
was.
season.
Yeah.
Between
And it
wild
was-
cards and themes,
Like
too.
you said,
like-
lifetime movie, like movies that I had stashed away from like 6 years ago that I was like, they need to watch them. You know, it's like Captain Fantastic was one of those that I was like, hopefully that'll be good. So yeah, in the past 30 weeks, whatever it was.
Yeah, so our scores are probably going to go down, which is fine because we're not picking the best of our best
Yeah.
anymore. Like we're picking like
You're not
movies to
sending
talk
your
about.
best, guys.
Anyways.
Apparently I'm
Yeah.
not. I'm still slinging bangers. But
So moving
Always
on to
got
our
paid.
next category before Price's head gets even larger.
There's no way. It's already taken up so much.
He
We
needs
know.
extra and large hats. So our next category is best love story,
Ooh.
which I think it might be one of my favorite
That
categories.
is
Ooh.
a solid one.
I'm going first then.
Okay.
I mean, I won that last thing.
We're not stopping.
The night is short, of course. The back and forth, like the way these two characters weave in and out of each other's stories, I thought was really well done. Rather than like focusing like on their budding relationship the whole time, it's basically like he's got a story, she's got a story. They eventually come together and make a beautiful romance together, and like it really. Like that scene at the very end, wherever like she realizes like she actually does like him, and like she's like, oh, I think I am actually getting sick. Like, oh, so heartwarming at that point.
I was thinking about that earlier, how I would not pick that because like, I mean, I know he's a good, kind gentleman at heart, but he's
so thirsty.
He's thirsty and he's kind of stalkerish.
Yeah,
like, at the very
for
beginning,
75% of the film, he's doing some pretty
he was
borderline
like,
stalkerish behavior.
I've been really making sure she sees me, and it's all coincidental. He even had that adverb, that abbreviation. Mm-hmm. She sees me always, or something like that.
Yeah.
And
I think it's a different world. Like it's like it's animated, so it already kind of takes you out of like the real world, and it's like the world acts differently here than it does in the real world. So I don't think those constraints really play as much because if he does this in front of a bunch of other characters, and not one person's like, you're being kind of weird here. Like it's not romantic.
And like all of them.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So like I think it's like different kind of rule sets here for this, because like if it was like real world and like this was going on and like this guy who's been thirsting after this girl comes flying through a zip line to like do a play with somebody, yeah, I'm gonna be a little bit put off. But
that wasn't even the craziest thing he did either. He ate boiling hot lava.
Yeah,
for her.
The lava soup thing.
Oh, to get the book and her.
Yeah. All right, Dylan, go ahead.
Yeah. All right. I'm taking it, I guess. Anyway, so nobody's surprised. I'm gonna pick my favorite movie, Inception. I love this one. What? Love story.
Please explain.
The core of the story with Leo's character development is based around him and his wife's story, right?
Oh, okay.
So all of that piece in that love story bit there, love that part. I was saying from the beginning, go back to the Inception review, everybody. I love that it's this tragic, dark one, how it's taking this tail, but, in a way, it's this kind of dark love story where she keeps reappearing. The only reason she continues to exist is because he doesn't want to let her go. And there's something very tragically beautiful about all of that.
Yeah.
And I love the process of him learning to cope with it by the end of the film and all of that. I don't know, it's very therapeutic in how he processes the death of his wife, but that death only matters because he loved her so much, and Maul's a killer in that film. So yeah, I like how it's all presented in that way. It's a very unorthodox love story, I'll admit there. My follow-up to that was Brothers, just between the two brothers.
Fair.
Yeah.
So glad you didn't pick that one.
You're gonna like my.
Anyway, so I guess whoever we get it, we just pass it to. So Nathan, you go ahead.
Okay, so I did consider The Night is Short, but I do agree that it just felt too stalkerish.
It's just too creepy for most of the
film. I don't like. To me, it seemed like such a forced love story, where it's like they were just like he was trying to make a thing happen so hard that she did not seem to care whether that was
consent.
Like,
didn't
even notice it most of the time.
She was just so happy-go-lucky all the time, which was a benefit to her character. I mean, it was.
Well, it's more of a detriment because like she's like God, like I don't have love, and like well because you're like a train and you don't stop and you don't stop to pay attention.
That lifestyle, she's optimistic about every single aspect of life.
But there's a positive to living like that and a negative.
Sure.
And that's supposed to be the whole arc of the story. Like that's the message to that story. But yeah, I don't feel like, to me, the love story is like the focus that I took away from it. I guess an honorable mention would probably be Casino Royale. I think the love story in that was actually pretty interesting.
Yeah,
like, interesting is a good word for it.
I'm a fan of those very standoffish types that are like a hard shell to crack.
Yeah,
super hard.
Nathan's like, I want you to hate me for the first 6 months of our relationship.
So I appreciated seeing that on film. That was interesting.
Yeah.
But I'm probably gonna give it to a very cliche one, which is Sing Street.
Yeah.
And I know it's so cliche, and it's so just like, oh, I see a cute girl. I'm in a band.
Yeah, I'm in a band, I guess. I'm gonna write you a song, I guess.
I don't know how to do any of this, but I'm gonna do it because you're a cute girl, and I don't even know anything about you, but I'm just gonna try and win you over anyway.
Yeah.
It's a very silly cliche thing, but it's endearing, honestly.
I think you're right. I think it's very endearing.
Yeah.
It's actually my pick. I'll get to my honorable mention first. Honey Boy. The love that the son had for the dad, not vice versa, because fuck him.
Yeah.
The son for the dad, I really actually enjoyed. That was one of the only things in that movie that I was.
He wound up pulling away from his dad.
He did. At
Really
the
not
end,
liking
but
his dad.
The first 75% of that movie, he wanted to live with him. He wanted to know that his dad was going to be there to pick him up. He wanted, he was all of these things.
Mm-hmm.
But you're right. At the end, it didn't amount to much. I think it was a pretty good relationship that they had at the beginning. But yeah, that guy was just a dick. He just sucked. But yeah, Sing Street, I'm with you. I just think that it is my bread and butter.
Teen drama romance, give it to me all day.
That was my pick before we even picked that category. So, okay, let me get to the next one. Best villain / antagonist. Dylan, you go first.
Sure. I almost went Kill Bill with like 5 different villains on this one. But because of what they did with the movie, I have to give it to the character's name I don't remember, but it's what's his face from Gangs of New York.
Daniel Day-Lewis.
There we go.
The Butcher.
Bill
The Butcher. Bill the Butcher, right. Yeah. Bill the Butcher, who may or may not be other people's answers in this one based on people's recollection of the name, was just sweet, dude. I mean, he crushes it. He's all the reason why I watched this movie. He'd be all the reason I would want to go back to watch the movie, and honestly, I would just rewatch the clips that he's in and then forget the rest of the parts. He's killer in this film, man. He does a great job, and I think it's one of those things where you have to have an antagonist that not only does a lot to be, the opposite side of these, of the protagonist, but just to be able to elevate the fear, the threat, everything they're supposed to be doing. He just does everything right. Even in that moment when they have that big meeting before that last big fight, he even has this respectful nod to him, whenever he's like, oh, do we bring guns or anything like that? He's like, no guns. And you see him nodding in approval. I love that about that. Yeah. He still has this dad archetype, but he's also, proud of this person that he's raising up in this way. Yeah, Daniel Day-Lewis crushes it, dude. Great actor.
He absolutely does.
They make fun of him in Tropic Thunder.
Well,
do they?
Yeah, the Robert Downey Jr.
He's a type actor.
Yeah, he's making fun of the type actor thing, and that is very much what Daniel does.
I wouldn't say directly Daniel.
No,
just that type of actor.
But that's definitely who he's thinking of because he's the one best known.
Well, yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, so that is my pick. I will say honorable mention to the CEO from Paprika and him turning into a giant shadow monster and then getting sucked up by a baby.
Yeah. You just wanted to say that.
That was a trip.
Yeah.
That was a whole thing.
Did I say earlier how much I'd forgotten about that movie?
Because again, it's like Dylan said, there's so much going on. It's gonna take 2 or 3 viewings that you're not gonna do.
I do completely agree with Dylan that Paprika. It probably does deserve to be watched one more time.
Probably.
And English.
Good.
That might help.
In English.
Yeah, no thanks.
Oh my
Not
gosh.
dubbed anyway.
I couldn't read while trying to watch that.
Oh, there's no way.
Oh, it was so hard.
Especially with all the colors going and subtitles being there. There's no way.
I barely understood that movie in my language.
Bryce,
my turn? Yeah. So the reason, what I'm looking for in an antagonist is somebody who's believable and it's more just the fact that they're believable. If I believe that this person's evil and they could exist in the real world, that's the reason I had the Butcher as my honorable mention. He was going to be my number one just because he plays both sides so well. He's good in a way, but he's also pretty bad. I mean, obviously, he kills that guy, that officer at the end or whatever. But anyway, but first is going to be Lady Eboshi from Princess Mononoke. I really liked her as an antagonist because, again, she's good in a way and she's bad in a way because she goes and she takes these women that are in these terrible situations. They're from whorehouses, stuff like that, and gives them power in a society that they normally wouldn't. And at the same time, she lets the prince and the Princess Mononoke leave whenever they're in the town and lets them leave rather than just killing them outright because she doesn't think she needs to do that. And she plays both sides of it so well. There's tons of YouTube videos about it. I didn't watch them all. I just saw that there was a bunch there. But yeah, Lady Eboshi, I thought she was a great antagonist because she's not just a villain. She's just an antagonist.
For some reason, I thought you were gonna take mine the way that you were leading up to that. My best villain, it's definitely the guy from Pathology. the bad guy from Pathology. I fucking hated it.
I almost did the same thing for that reason. As the most loathable character in the world, yes.
Yeah, dude, like he was just he didn't serve any good purpose. Like,
he was terrible.
He was so bad, and like he was supposed to be.
He's just evil for the sake of evil, too.
Yeah.
He is the mustache twirling guy over next to a train track.
He got like
Yeah,
dirt.
exactly.
He got like dirt on the main guy, like early on, just so he could shove it in his face at the end. Like it was just, he was awful. I hated him.
Most
He was-
despised character.
He was probably
Yeah.
my worst villain.
Yeah.
With an honorable mention of the Casino Royale guy, not because he was just so like perpetually evil. He looked awesome. That suit the whole time and that like weird scar eye thing. I mean, he was really good.
Mads was sweet in that one.
Mads
Mikkelsen.
Mikkelsen, yeah. Okay, so the next category is most surprising movie that you didn't think you would like and you did, or most surprising movie that you didn't like that you thought you would like. So it could go either way.
You could just say most surprising.
No,
It needs to be said
both
because
ways,
you don't see these movies and then you get them picked for you, or you go into them and you have this expectation, but then it falls here, or vice versa. So it's always one way or the other.
Sure.
I'll go first. So
Please.
it was probably either going to be Rain of Fire or Night is Short, because Night is Short, I remember watching the trailer and it was wacky. I still don't even think that trailer
We watched it together.
takes it from the movie. It's just so random. But Rain of Fire was another one of those Nathan picks. I'm going to have to give it...
That's all you need to
That's
say.
all you gotta
That's
say.
it.
But luckily, he's conditioned me in the fact that like I'll normally keep a medium bar for him now, and they still kind of exceed just a little bit every time. I'm gonna give it to Night is Short. I don't think that I had any great expectations. Not that I can remember going into it. I just thought it was gonna be this LSD trip that hopefully I wasn't epileptic because of the trailer was just so in your face, and like I said, it didn't even match the movie. I don't think the trailer did. It was just wild. So anyways, that's my pick.
All right, so I'm gonna do an Inception on you all with this one.
Whoa.
Unless you pick Inception, it's not actually Inception. But
If he
go
does.
on.
No, it's
I'll
totally
kill him.
Inception because so I'm going with most surprising. All right, so I thought I was gonna like this movie going in. All right, okay, follow me here.
Okay.
I thought I was really gonna like it, and then I realized who the director was. So I was like,
Wow.
nope, throwing it in the trash.
Okay.
And then I watched it and I'm like, all right, I can't believe it. I like this little fox.
Yeah.
I like Mr. Anderson's take on this movie because
He
there's
gets
no
that
other
title
situation.
now, Mr. Anderson.
Oh yeah, we're buddies now. We've watched I Can Do That with Scorsese. We've watched so many Tarantino.
Jesus, shut up.
We've done so many. We know each other.
We are banning Scorsese for season 3.
Miyazaki. We're
True.
We're on terms with.
We're pretty tight.
But yeah, fantastic Mr. Fox. 'Cause I really did go through that because I thought I was gonna like it, and then I saw Wes Anderson's directing it. Hate him. And then we ended up really liking it. I thought it was really cute. It was really funny. Like I really liked the humor that it brought in this movie, like that, like dark, just like quick humor. What I want. Like I'm like, for some reason I didn't like What We Do in the Shadows. I still don't particularly understand it either because it's like a similar beat of comedy.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't care. Movies are subjective. Fantastic Mr. Fox was most surprising in a good way, and a bad way, then a good way.
Well, one of the most surprising movies for me was actually one that before it had even gotten to like the turn for them to pick movies for me, whenever we were doing our whole thing of like picking for each other what we thought that they would like, was Paprika. Whenever Price picked that for Dylan, I was like, I think this might actually end up being a movie that should have been picked for me. Just based on the trailer, because it was wild and vibrant and had so much going on. And then cut to me watching it, and oh my God, was there so much going on.
He watched it sub too. That makes a big
It makes
difference.
a tremendously bad difference. Like I've gotten to where I'm okay with subs now for the most part, but it was so grating. It was so grating that like my roommate would be coming in and being like, what is going on in here? It sounds awful.
I don't even know.
It's like every time she comes in, it's either the parade every time or some other absolute just insane thing going on.
Nathan's just wide-eyed
It
at
was
the
all
TV
the
drooling.
It was a wild ride, and it was one that left me very disappointed because I had high hopes from that trailer. Now, I do have another one going the other direction.
Wait, is this honorable mention or is this the pick or?
So with surprising movies, we kind of discussed the idea of like surprising in both ways. So this, like, Paprika was surprisingly disappointing. This movie was surprisingly good. I didn't figure that a quasi-documentary about a child actor would be anything that I would care at all about or enjoy very much at all. But Honey Boy surprised me. I actually found that movie to be really good, and I don't hate the dad as much as it seems like everybody else did. I think he's a very flawed character.
He's a good guy.
I mean, I wouldn't hang out with him, but he probably would buy me a drink at a bar.
He was all over the place, but like, you know, at points I feel like he had a good heart.
At certain points.
Yeah. Moral compass has something to be desired.
Yeah, I don't know. That one really took me by surprise because I definitely expected
remember
like,
all
this
those
was not gonna be
racist
something
jokes.
I enjoyed.
Oh boy.
Like those racist jokes. He would just pop off and just laugh at them. Like he would just laugh at his own jokes. But yeah, I get what you're saying.
Oh yeah.
Child actors, and that was his movie too.
Yeah, yeah, and that's the other thing too, where I was just like, I don't think this is gonna be very good, because that man has kind of gone crazy.
Yeah, falling off the deep end. Dylan,
It's Train to Busan.
is that right?
And I thought I was gonna like it a lot more than I did. And after I watched it, I remember thinking, it annoyed me a lot more than I thought it was going to. It frustrated me because
It wasn't for him. It was for me.
It was.
True.
There is one rule on this podcast: if it is not for me, it probably goes to Price. So
I'll take it.
Yeah.
I'll eat your leftovers.
Yeah. Except for Brokeback Mountain, which was neither of us. We'll get there, I'm sure. But anyway,
That movie has not been mentioned yet this whole time.
We're saving the good ones,
which
for
is
later.
surprising, right?
That's a good one?
Stay tuned.
We'll see.
Well, it's good for certain categories.
We
We'll
get
put
some
it that way.
cowboy hats on.
So anyway, Train to Busan, right? It has
Kids
everything
grunting.
you want out of it and on paper, right? It's a Japanese action thriller, zombie horror
Korean.
on a train, simple
Korean.
place. Korean. All right, sorry, Asian, but so
I'm half Asian, guys.
right. So all of that mixed in, like, sounds pretty sweet, and there are parts of it that are pretty fun and great, but it just kept hitting the trope button time and time and time again, and because I've seen like a lot of these films. I've seen the whole 28 series. I've seen all of the Resident Evils, all that, all the tropiness on the action side, all the tropiness on the good ones that take itself seriously. And this one takes itself seriously, but it keeps hitting the action tropes. And I'm like, what? Quit hitting these buttons. Why did these characters have to die? What? Because this guy sucks. I already know he sucks. Why are they dying then? And then it's like, but then we need to bring it back home and do it again. And it just did a couple things too many times for me to be comfortable with it. Like overall, parts of it, I enjoy like the first chunk of the movie, but then it kept just doing stuff that I expected it to do, and this isn't a movie trying to do anything different or unique, but whenever you hit that button so many times, it just kind of grinds my buttons on that one. And that's where it gets me, because this was a movie that going in, and even while watching the first part of it, I was on board, so to speak, on the train. And then I was off board. And then I saw the train hitting all the stops I didn't want it to hit, and I'm like, oh, train, quit doing that.
It's all right.
Like any horror movie.
He's wrong, but whatever.
I'm not wrong. Not wrong.
Little pop-up question here. I just thought about it. All right, so most like hated, like just hated villain. The guy from Pathology or the guy from Train to Busan? Just hated.
Pathology, because even the guy in the Train to Busan, like,
He had a reason for it.
He's still like just an id animal, right? Like he's put in a situation where he's totally uncomfortable and he's just trying to make the best of it. That guy has no intentions. I can see the business guy maybe having a family, maybe like working hard to support his family, maybe having some semblance of humanity to him. That character is just evil, written up for him to be human being.
I feel like I stand a chance against the business guy.
Yeah.
I can outsmart that asshole. I can't outsmart this guy.
That guy's been eviling since he was born.
Yeah, that guy got dropped on his head.
Yeah, that guy needs to go.
All right, how about you, Nathan?
Like, I'm gonna go with just the fact that I hated pathology so much.
That's his reasoning.
Like, I enjoyed Train to Busan, even though I did hate that villain. But I both hated pathology and hated that villain.
Yeah.
So he is in a deep, dark hole.
Double points for that.
Unfortunately, I think I'm gonna have to go with you on that one and pick pathology as well.
Yeah.
Because I really hated that guy, but man, that other guy's just awful.
So we are
Just
going
awful.
to move along.
Okay, Mason's moving us along, guys.
Nathan's
Sorry.
All-American
We're gonna have
rejecting
that.
We're
us.
on a time scale.
So
Okay.
we're
Yeah.
going into best costume design for movie. Nathan, you go ahead.
Best cost.
So I'll start with the honorable mention that Ben Stiller dressed up in the panda was absurd and hilarious, and the fact that it was like literally a costume. He kills a real panda, but he's got like this cutesy little like sleep mask thing on top of his head. It's hilarious.
Because he thinks it's a bear coming to get him, and it's a little baby panda.
Yeah.
It's like, I messed up, McConaughey. I really messed up here. Oh, did you kill a hooker? 2 hookers? I killed a panda man.
But I'm gonna give it to Jennifer Lopez in The Cell. Every outfit she had was amazing. Even like the suit that they wear to go into the mind is
That
really
suit was
cool.
great. Oh yeah, she looked great in that suit. Yeah. She did.
Yikes.
So-
sorry.
Yeah. Go ahead.
I'm gonna give it 2049, man. Like, it starts off right off the bat with that sci-fi stuff that you were like, if I saw that in modern day and a random dude wearing it, I'd probably think they're kind of a really weird dude, probably with some cool interest in like the stuff that I like, but I'm not gonna approach him because he's too into it. But like, he has that coat that has that sweet little thing that covers over. I'm like, honestly, that would probably be really helpful depending on the cold weather.
Mm-hmm.
And then you get into just the sci-fi elements of it all, and like, yeah, all of the attire and all that fits this, neo-noir, post-dystopia future, but I think it just nails it. I mean, yeah, that's not a whole lot to brag on to, but I think starting with Joseph Gordon-Levitt, and then seeing Dave Bautista be, like,
the
tiny
glasses.
the tiniest little glasses,
Yeah.
like, everything about the little character designs was super good, too. Like, they meant for him to be, like, both intimidating, but also not. Like, he's portrayed as this gentle giant, and then you see Jake all of it. Just all of it. Whatever. 2049. Blade Runner.
So I'll go, honorable mention would probably be What We Do in the Shadows. I think that it was fun, and I liked the clothing from it and their pieces and everything, but I think it was almost too easy, They were kind of playing on, like, their age and their Renaissance age. This guy was from the medieval age, like, I get it. So I liked it, but I'd say that I'd give it to Gangs of New York, just because you guys kept mentioning, Billy the Butcher. His get-up the entire time was killer. He was that really drapey, like, long, like, looked like he was about to go out back to the, chop some wood down or something. Just the whole, like, fashion of that whole movie. Like, Leonardo DiCaprio had some really good pieces. Was it Cameron Diaz? That girl? Didn't care much for her character, but I think her
She always had
outfits,
sweet Victorian outfits.
she had a
and
very
whatever she
cool,
wanted
like up kind of outfits. Yeah, so I'd give it to Gangs of New York.
I'm gonna have to go with Good Will Hunting because it looks like they just went in Robin Williams and Matt Damon's closet and were like, "Hey, go wear something that you have in here."
Like
and that's about all the effort they put into it.
They went to a thrift store from now.
Yeah, that's
And
true.
That's what they were wearing.
No,
back
I'm
then.
definitely not. That's terrible. That would be a terrible decision. No,
That's what they were wearing.
I mean, it's hard for me to do anything besides The Cell because that's like the one thing I remember from The Cell is like the costumes and like the set pieces. Like it was just amazing that people could come up with that kind of thing and then bring it into real life.
The pie chart of that budget was just like costume set pieces and then like story, like J-Lo will hire her on.
Yeah, I don't remember any of that. Something about a kid, I think. But yeah, everything else like visually stunning, which is perfect for this guy.
Yeah. Next category is most memorable death. Does anybody want to jump in on that?
Ooh, I got it.
All right, you got it.
I want to jump off of a tower with an axe, trying to kill a
knew someone would
dragon,
pick
but
that.
I'm gonna get caught, and it's gonna look sweet,
It's gonna
but
be
I'm not gonna
underwhelming.
make it.
Yeah.
Yeah, honorable mentions to the fucking Rain of Fire one.
Matthew McConaughey character.
Surprisingly, it was not my pick.
It was my pick.
That was generally
like,
his pick.
anytime I think of Rain of Fire, I think of Matthew McConaughey jacked out of his mind with a battle axe, jumping off of a tower to try and slay a dragon. It's fantastic.
He was an insanely good character until he died.
Yeah.
From the start to finish.
Died in a pretty silly way, admittedly, even for that character.
That's the way I'd want to go. If you've got a world full of dragons,
Yeah, I guess it's better
get
to
eaten
burn
by
it.
one while you're trying to
Get
slice
eaten
it
by
down
one.
the throat.
Have you tried just getting eaten instead of burn? Right.
I will say I thought that Men in Black was gonna happen, where he like carved it from the inside out and just like blew it out from his stomach. Anyways,
That wouldn't have surprised me. But surprisingly, not my pick. Honorable mention, though. We're going to the fountain of all movies for most memorable death.
Oh,
The part where he's
yeah.
licking the thing and the tree grows
Yeah.
out of him and it bursts out and he turns into the tree.
I will
And,
admit,
and he's
Pretty
just going,
metal, dude.
Yeah.
Yeah. He's, oh,
Like
God.
he's just like touching it,
Yeah,
trying to like
touching
pull
it,
it down.
trying-
It all just keeps growing.
all the
as
vines
he-
keep growing.
Yeah.
Bro, it's such a gnarly
didn't
death.
it keep
though.
Yeah.
showing his face too, and he was just like,
Yeah.
or
Like,
something.
all huge. Mr. Jackman himself was just getting,
Yeah.
planted out. And yeah, dude, like I just remember thinking like the score and that death scene was like, oh, that was exceptionally brutal for that movie. But I just remember I couldn't turn away and I was like, man, that's solid. Yeah, so huge Jackman getting a tree grown out of him.
Jackman.
There you go.
He needs you. I'm gonna go next. Honorable mention to The Departed, the part that you mentioned earlier when it was just like bang, bang, bang. That part was pretty cool on first watch.
Another good death from that, though, is when they drop Martin Short from the roof.
Oh yeah, that part was pretty
Gosh.
good.
Yeah, because that was just so raw.
But-
Like, he just comes down and just...
But my main pick, and he yelled at, was
Yes, I'm
again,
ready.
Pathology.
Ah!
What?
Whenever the gas line, like he had the spew and he finally outsmarted him and he blew everyone up. You thought. That
and
part,
the evil guy comes
so
in.
with that movie, I actually really didn't like the way that it was headed at all up until that point. But as soon as that happened, that was its main redeeming quality.
They
And-
killed everyone.
Yes.
Yeah.
And as soon
Finally,
as
this movie can
as
start
soon as
moving.
They terminated all of the infestation that was down in that little surgical room. I was like, okay, I'm in for it. How much time's left? I think we can make this work. So I actually really remember that part from that movie, and that was probably one of my favorite death scenes of this season because they were all just so atrocious.
If it actually killed the guy, I'd put that pretty high up there. I
Well,
would've
but the
loved
way that they killed the guy was actually kind of cool. He
Yeah.
caught him, and he
Yeah.
drugged him, and then they got to
it.
perform
It means I had to
surgery.
see more of them.
True.
So,
He earned it.
whatever. Would have toasted him.
I hate giving Dylan any kind of validation on anything. You 10 viewers know that. You 3 hosts know that. I don't like agreeing with that on anything. But my honorable mention is going to be Woody Harrelson from 3 Billboards. Don't remember he's a police officer guy.
Yeah.
I really liked how they did that monologue, voiceover, everything. For some reason that really got me. That's like the one thing I enjoyed the most about that movie. But still, my pick is still going to go to validate this walking guy, and that is going to be Bill from Kill Bill. Because it's more of the lead up to it, because the whole time, because I think Bill's more menacing in the first one where you don't even see him.
Oh yeah.
But because that builds him up so much, then you meet him and you're like, he's not as awesome as you thought. But then you learned all this ways, she's wanting to kill him for 2 movies, 2 pretty long movies at that.
Yeah.
And then she finally gets to do it, does it in such a cool way. I don't know. I put it in quotation marks because it's not it's kind of cheesy at the same time because it's kung fu.
It's lovably cheesy for that genre. though.
Yeah, exactly. And then it is just memorable because she finally gets to Bill, finally gets away with her daughter, and gets to live. So yeah.
I remember
It's
the
Bill.
trailer scene more so than that. I remember what happens in that scene, but there was nothing to it. The Bill scene.
Which I think they had a little fight before.
Yeah, they had a little
in
sword
the
exchange,
house.
and then they had the guy. Yeah, there's 2 little mini fights leading up to it, but it's not this grand battle that you get the expectance of from
Which I like because it's, I don't know, I just like it. Because I was going to say, because it's more like real life, but then I think, Kill Bill Volume 1 had a really awesome fight scene where she fights about 200 ninjas at the same time.
Yeah.
It's
That was
awesome.
so cool.
So
Yeah.
sweet. Memorable deaths.
All those people.
all 200 of them like crazy.
She
Indian.
even mentions some of you guys have lost your arms. You can take them with you if you want.
No, she was like, no, everyone that you lost your arms, those are mine. You leave those.
Yeah, she told them to leave
Flip
them.
it.
Yeah.
Next category is fattest movie. So we haven't thrown a lot of punches up until now.
Are we all unanimous on this one?
Well,
Probably
everybody but
not.
probably Mason, but...
Oh, okay.
Maybe, go ahead.
That's what I'm
You
thinking.
guys have any honorable mentions before you just slice me to death? Jesus.
No, just the one.
Yeah, I really just have one.
Okay.
Just the one.
Let's do this.
Alright.
I'm just curious. I don't know.
Oh, I
You don't think
exactly
you're
what
with
it's
it?
gonna be.
Alright, Price, do you want to do it?
Oh, it's
Or do you
gonna
want me
be
to do it?
brothers because you know that.
Wait, you're a brother, and I'm a brother. so
Yeah.
We're on this one.
You mean that adequately long movie that was not too long? Okay, I get it.
No, it was
Nah.
so long.
No.
I'm gonna look up.
It doesn't matter. Like it could be not. It could be like 90 minutes on the
I bet
dot,
it
but
is
it
90
doesn't
minutes.
warrant
Here-
that.
Here's my thing about that movie. They should have actually just had a scene where the wife and the brother had sex, and then the whole thing would have actually made sense
Mhm.
that he didn't want to say anything.
Right.
But instead, it is completely
I-
elongated through the fact that people just don't want to be like, hey, we didn't fucking do anything.
Yeah.
We didn't do anything.
We didn't even do it.
But instead, he's like, no, we're brothers. We're brothers.
We're brothers. We're
That
brothers.
doesn't answer the question.
But you're not answering the question.
I asked if you banged
So
my wife,
either
and you said
it
we're
should have
brothers.
happened and you should know that it happened, or it shouldn't have happened and you should have said, oh, well, of course I didn't do that.
No, buddy. No, I wouldn't do
But
that.
for some reason, he never tells him, which does about worse like TV
never.
trope, like TV trope from like those like dopey like Everybody Loves Raymond kind of things. Where like if you have one conversation, it makes this whole thing pointless.
Yep.
And that's exactly what I was thinking the whole time because I remember the exact
You
moment
thought of
was when
Everyone Loves
bec-
Raymond when you watched
because
this
when they were
movie.
When they're sitting
when
on
they're
the
ice
bleachers?
skating, yes,
Yeah.
when they're
Oh,
doing the
yeah.
ice skating, and he's like, "Did you do anything with my wife?" And he's like, "Man, we're brothers." I'm like, "No, what are you talking about? Just tell him you didn't do anything, or maybe if you did, it was off camera, but." Just say something to him, and then he's like, "We're brothers, man. Did
but
you forget we're
I
brothers?"
just have to wonder too, like if they did say, "No, I didn't do that."
They didn't.
They didn't.
I know. I'm just
Oh,
saying.
but, like, in the
if
universe.
they had,
Right. If they
would that
did.
make this movie exponentially better for you? Surely not.
Yes.
No, yeah, if they'd said that and then
It
the drama
would.
had felt like
No, it
continued on
wouldn't
with
have fallen though.
Well,
The
no,
little
not
girl
necessarily
still
fallen.
would have acted the same way.
Right. So
It
everything
didn't
would have
change her
fallen,
character.
but everything would have been on track, right? Instead, it's
Exactly.
like it all feels like it's a lie. Like this girl is embellishing it, and then the guys and the mom are just like, okay, that's not really what happened. Maybe we should have talked about this, but
Yeah.
all right, we got high, we kissed. Not really that big of a deal. I mean, I think
I
even
just
he would
don't
have been.
think that the end of the movie changes at all. Even if he does say, "Dude, come on."
No,
I
I
wouldn't
think
have done that.
the
no.
end happens regardless of the situation,
Yes.
and that's fine. But I think everything in the middle was so frustrating because you're just like, just do it.
I'm
Just
glad
say
it frustrated
The-
you.
the-
I'm
Yeah,
so happy.
The frustration is the thing. It
Yeah,
was just like,
it is.
you do feel the whole time like there is just a couple of simple words that you need to say to your brother, and it's not that you're his brother.
He knows that. He has
Like,
a birth
yeah, of
certificate.
course he knows that.
And an ABCD options things of what he has. One of it is, I kissed your wife while we were high, I'm sorry. The options B, C, and D were, hey man, I'm your brother. And he kept just hitting those ones, hoping it was the right answer, and he never just hit A.
And it would have helped this movie too, because like Tobey Maguire's character needs help, and this would have helped his character
True.
so much because like if Jake
He
Gyllenhaal was
did
like,
need help.
if he was like we didn't do anything, and then Toby's like, I am going crazy right now, and I don't believe you. I am paranoid of everything. Like
Yeah.
I would have been behind that. That would have helped his
Yeah.
the fact like his PTSD take more of a form. It's him like not believing that happened. But anyway, that's griping about the movie. It's still fat because like the whole movie could be negated pretty much if just that one
It is-
conversation had it, and
Yeah.
that kills it.
It
It's-
was not an hour and a half. It was an hour and 45 minutes.
So it is
okay.
fat.
So
It is fat with runtime
it is.
too. Alright, so
Length
yeah.
itself doesn't justify a fat movie. It's
It's
content.
It's
Yeah.
also based on the paradigm like for like if a rom com, like a rom com could be a 5-minute movie if the guy and the girl were just like, yeah, I love you, too. Done. Done. Now sometimes they gotta build that point up, and all right, so maybe 30-minute movie, I'll give it to that.
All right. So fattest movie, brothers.
Brothers.
Fattest movie, brothers.
Yeah.
Are you brothers too?
I mean, I do agree with you guys. I put down
honorable
the
mention.
first Blade Runner just because
Okay.
boy was that a
We
slog.
could cut some inappropriate stuff out of
Remember
that
you
film.
said that a lot.
Mhm.
Yeah. So that one stuck out to me, but
Yeah.
I do feel like there's definitely a meaningful conversation to be had about brothers again.
There's a platform for Brothers 2020.
Politically correct answer he could have come up with at that moment. So I'm
Brothers.
Gonna, no.
No.
I gave that movie a 9. I genuinely like
That
it.
is insane.
Anyways,
I love that he actually puts it at a 9.
It's so good.
It is not.
It's not, but you have you, buddy.
That's fine. So honorable mention is 2049. it does not take the cake because I mean I could trim some stuff up, but it's probably still
cake.
a really good one. You're not. Dylan is.
Oh, here's your cake.
Kill Bill 2.
Oh,
yes.
So fucking fat,
Yes.
dude. Take all of that stuff out of there.
Nah.
It was so
That's
good.
my cake. I want it.
Take that button too. It's
All right.
basically yours.
Because there's like what
Kill
3
Bill-
villains
There's
left.
4 in the first one, I think.
No, in the second.
it's-
There's
it shows.
It's got
There's 5 villains total. Right?
But
It
there's-
shows 4 of them in the first one,
Right,
and she
including
might not
Bill.
take care of all of them, but it gives all of their story. There's a good flow chart. And the last one only has like a little bit of action on one death, and maybe a little bit of a kill scene, and that's pretty much it. And then all of that stupid samurai training. It was just so
Some of my
dumb.
favorite parts of the whole movie. Wouldn't
Like,
have cut it.
I didn't
agree.
hate the movie overall.
With
It
him
was
stroking his
just
beard.
But
everything.
I mean, if you're coming off of one, I'll meet you halfway on this. I know
First
that
one's
for
just so
you,
good.
you
The
got
first
caught
one's
up
so
on the formula for 1, and you wanted the formula for 1 into 2, but you didn't get it that way.
Mhm.
So it's I totally get that. I don't agree with it for me reasons like I like the stuff that they put in and how they went about it. I would have equally liked to have seen Kill Bill Volume 1 formula into 2 as well. I think it would have been cool to play it out like a boss fight video game, like boom, 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 get story, do this, do that. But I can also see the need for it being a repetitive situation for what is 5 hours of movie roughly. Like,
yeah.
So.
I thought I'd be able to tell the difference, like in the formulas more, since I like movies like Foxcatcher. I figure like I'd be able to tell that difference a lot
I
better.
don't know what you're implying, Bryce.
Could I pick Foxcatcher for fattest movie?
Yeah.
No, no, I'm the only one.
I'll pick it. I'll pick Foxcatcher.
Alright.
That's a fat movie. I take it back. It's fatter than Brothers, though.
Hell yeah.
Nope. You need all that drama and intrigue.
Alright, so we get to keep going with the jabs. Most disliked or hated.
Oh,
movie
boy,
of
let's keep
this
the negativity train
season.
going.
Look at all of them. They're all going for their phones.
Yeah, we're all-
They've got a
oh,
lot.
I get to talk so much this time. I am ready. I know. I'm
Nathan,
black.
you want to go first?
Sure. So I'm gonna throw an honorable mention to The Fountain because
Which he picked for me.
because I'm so disappointed in how that movie performed from my recollection of it. Boy, was that not a good choice. So I feel bad for having picked that movie. It had a good score at least, so there's something to redeem from it.
But it's
but
so long.
the most disliked, it should be Paprika, but Paprika was still visually interesting. I really did not like Pathology.
Yeah!
Oh, hell yeah.
Wait, alright, so hold on,
Wow.
pause. Who's on the pathology train?
Not it.
Alright, so me and Nathan
It had
we share
redeeming
this segment then.
qualities. It did. It had some redeeming
Nathan,
qualities.
I'll let you lead and I'll just kind of agree. And
Nothing about it was that redemptive to me.
I relish your hatred.
It
I
was-
relish it.
It was nonsense characters. Like none of these people should or would exist. Like it was just like edgy shit just to be edgy.
What if like 15-year-old Nathan saw this movie?
15-year-old Nathan
I
would
probably would have liked it. I don't know.
because he has everything to feel for this.
I don't have a lot of respect for 15-year-old Nathan. I'm sure he would have enjoyed it.
Seeing those Facebook pictures, I could see why.
He's like, it's been a half a lifetime ago, and I've learned a lot since then.
You
Okay.
did pick a movie that like 33% of this room might like.
Well, it was for you.
And,
It was for
and that
your
was a
theme.
might.
I know, which
No,
was
I
like
get it.
possibly, yeah.
Yeah.
You knew what you were getting.
If you
yourself
want to
into.
talk about no redeemable cast other than
Yeah.
like Romano, what's her name? The
Alyssa Milano.
Yeah, Melissa Milano or whatever. Yeah. Alyssa is really about the only most redeemable character, and they just have her die. Like, she is that character. She's, I'm here to be redeemable, but you also know I'm gonna die for the stakes of
Oh,
this
yeah.
movie. Like, which is not good.
I agree
Like,
with that.
even the professor was not a redeem. Like he was an idiot.
No, he's stupid.
They're at the end when
Yeah.
he's like, "You want to do the autopsy on your
Do you want to do the
girlfriend?"
autopsy on you, bro? No. Yeah, even the professor is unethical at best. Like, should not have tenure and should be fired immediately.
He knew people.
Yeah.
He definitely just knew
It
people.
was the most
Gosh, Caesar.
unrealistic story that was
He's a brick.
like set in the concept of this could be the real world.
I'm gonna
like,
blow up the whole bottom of the school.
Like there was nothing fantastical or anything. It was set in like real times and a real situation they
Yeah.
thought, but boy was nothing about these people even remotely believable.
Do you remember when he was hiding from the gang for no reason? Remember
I
they're all
remember
walking.
you hated that part.
Yeah.
Oh,
so
yeah.
they're going down. They're gonna go down to the basement. He's just like hiding behind ambulances, and it's like, why? Why? not. You should be there. You go to that school. Why are you hiding from him? And the one redhead's like, yeah, we're probably gonna bang later. And he gives him the eyes, and then they do, and it's really weird because she bangs on that guy. Like, this is a weird fetish. This is a weird fetish. That's all it is. Somebody was like, dead bodies. I'd fuck it.
I thought Mason would like that fetish. All right, give me a break.
That says more about Price than Mason, actually. But yeah.
All right, so most hated movie.
This movie sucks. Pathology sucks. Don't watch it.
So
or
you
watch
both
it.
picked it?
Yeah, we
All right, fair enough.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go with Brokeback Mountain.
Hell
It was-
Yeah.
Honorable mention to
By the way, another movie picked for me is thrown out there.
I thought that you would like it.
I genuinely didn't like that movie as much as I was hoping that I would. I didn't hate it. It was such a time period piece, and it was this huge award-winning thing that was like flashed back in the mid 2000s, and there's probably a reason I didn't watch it, up until 2020.
14 years after that was culturally relevant.
And it kind of sucked. I mean, it had a couple enlightening points.
If it weren't for it being gay cowboys, it would be a lifetime
Agreed.
movie.
Agreed.
Like, you would
Yeah,
see
it
it on
really
the
would.
Lifetime
That's a good
channel.
point.
Totally true.
Well,
Well,
Like,
and what's his face hanging on?
Jake Gyllenhaal
John Holdings hangs
for
on.
like a second.
Dude, whatever, he did it.
That would have passed on Lifetime. A little
Yeah.
dog action.
A little dog. The little dog doesn't have it on
Keep
Lifetime.
those housewives loving it.
Nah,
you know,
they would get bulged through pants at most. Like, this is
Oh,
Lifetime.
jeez.
They never give you what you actually
Yeah,
want.
Brokeback was my least favorite. Honorable mention to 2049
Oh.
and Kill Bill 2. Actually,
Aw.
I know I yelled at him earlier, but
Both
at
of our
least
twos.
I can't put those on the same pedestal as Brokeback Mountain.
And that's
because
why I
I do
picked
think that they
Brokeback.
had some serious content that you just had to pick out and enjoy. Brokeback was not that. It was so dry.
All right,
Real dry.
I
Bone
am
dry.
ready for everyone to attack me on this, and I can
Oh,
defend myself
okay.
as much as I want because you all know. I think you all know my two picks because they have been the lowest scored movies.
It's gonna be
on
Brick and
this list.
Simpson.
Yep, exactly.
Oh.
Brick is definitely my most hated, but I'll get to that in a second. That's not an honorable mention. These
Boo.
are tied. The Fountain was one of them as well.
I can't fight
Another
you,
movie pick for me.
Ah,
was so
he thought
bad.
you would like it.
Because and then we had Train to Busan pick for
Maybe.
me that was awesome. But man, The Fountain, it's so long. It's so boring. I don't remember
It's
the
actually
score.
not that long.
I don't care. It felt long. I don't care if
Brothers
it's length.
long, so I don't know.
Like,
what he's
because
on right
I
now.
was
Brothers
not
is an
gonna
hour
pick an
45.
overly long movie for you.
For Brothers,
He was in Afghanistan.
Well, you know what?
think you could
They
tie
should
it
have
up?
put him in more Afghanistan more than if they wanted for it to be an hour 45.
See, I don't care. It felt long. I don't care if it's 50 minutes long. It felt long, and if it feels long, it doesn't matter the length. It just felt long. It was boring. I didn't care for any of the characters. It's just so up its own ass that
I do agree.
I do not like that. No,
Just kidding.
Sorry.
what was that?
We were laughing.
Did you say Brokeback?
Yeah.
So up its own ass.
That was in the first 20 minutes, and boy, do I remember that scene. Ooh, having just those two faces grunting at me. Oh, that was something else.
You thought you were watching a tennis match. Anyways, please continue
Alright,
on with
so-
your
Yeah, so
brigade.
Brick.
All right, so Fountain,
Fountain or
nobody
Brick?
attacking me on that one.
No, that's fair. That's
I
fair.
thought
And
that
then-
one was rough, but it also had some.
Okay,
qualities.
so I'm gonna say my most disliked movie that we have watched in these 70-something movies,
Almost
and
80.
that is Brick.
I'm glad that that's the bottom of your list.
Holy crap! I think I gave this movie a 1. I didn't
One.
score Excalibur that low. I haven't scored Rebo that low. Nothing. This movie, it's a teenage drama. So first of all, it's already swinging way below the belt. It's not gonna happen. I hate those kind of
It's a
movies.
teenage drama.
And then everything about that movie is something that I would hate. If it was longer, I would probably give this a half or 0. The fact that it's an hour 20 or hour 30,
Yeah.
was in its favor because I was looking for reasons to score it even lower.
So, just so you know, you gave The Fountain a 1. You gave Brick a 1.5.
Oh!
But if
Controversy.
it is a hot point, I understand.
Yeah.
I'm still going. I'm still going. I'm talking about reasons I hate this movie.
Upon
I thought
review,
you
he's
gave
like, I
them
still
both
hate
a one.
Brick.
This movie's like set like in the real world. Like these characters are supposed to be semi-believable because like it's like still like kind of far-fetched. But then I talked to other people. Like I talked to a friend of mine in Lexington. She was like this is like can happen in a real school. I'm like, no, it can't. She's like, you went to like a school with like 20 people in it. This can actually happen. I was like, all right, that's gonna make I hate this movie anymore because like it's supposed to be like real life, and these characters don't speak like people speak. They speak too fast at each
my favorite
other.
part of the movie.
Well, you're wrong. That's all I can say. You gave Brothers a 9.
You know, as I had said in the review, that movie was made to be a noir in a high school setting.
High school.
So, like, without that context, this is a weird movie.
Right.
I guess I don't like noir movies. I haven't seen any.
You don't
but
like
apparently-
teen dramas or noir.
Apparently, I don't like
and
noir.
boy, did this
And this
swing
movie
for those
comes-
two boxes.
And it goes for both of them, and there's this like romance that I didn't believe for a minute. All the characters were absolutely terrible. I don't know how you all like the pathology characters more than the brick characters.
Easily.
because I-
Nothing is likable about them.
Wait.
These kids are at least high schoolers. They have an excuse
Yeah, I
sometimes.
love the brick characters compared to those pathology Neanderthal.
I-
25. Yeah, he doesn't like noir. I mean, I'd give 2049 being noir.
I don't remember 2049 like hardly at all. But
And if
yes,
he remembered more, then he would give it low.
Brick,
But
again, going back in hindsight, like maybe at the time I thought the Fountain had something redeemable, but man.
yeah, that
I-
0.5 makes me really wonder what was fighting for the difference there.
But going like thinking off the top of my head, not scores. Brick is definitely
get
my
that.
most hated movie.
Yeah, I get that.
Definitely.
So weird.
I don't know why.
So, are we about to
Where we at?
start
Got
the
one more.
redemptive arc?
Yeah, we got
Only have one more.
We got most
one
loved
more category.
movie.
Yeah.
In
Most
response,
loved.
the most.
But it's
loved-
like-
Wait, I'm sorry. There's
it's-
two more.
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Sorry.
Favorite movie that you did not pick. We picked one from each of the other people's.
Yep.
So I'll go first.
Yep.
From Price's picks, that of all of his picks from this season, I picked Princess Mononoke. I have not spoken on that one yet. It was probably my favorite one that he had suggested. It was really cool. Once you were kind of in that world, you were in there until the very end. He did match it up with Kiki's Delivery Service, which I don't think matched at all. But Princess Mononoke was loads better, and I think that of this season, that was my favorite one from him. Dylan, I would probably pick Casino Royale. I know I picked Good Will Hunting for that week. I think I both.
And we all love that you did.
I think I gave them
That
both an
is
8.
fake news.
But Casino Royale was a much cleaner, like, fun to watch, action, had the poker scene. It was really cool. And then Nathan's, I would have to probably go with What We Do in the Shadows. It's very recent, I understand. It's probably freshest on my brain.
Recency bias. Boo.
I know, I just actually picked it right before we started recording, so maybe that's got some to it. Wasn't a, outstanding movie, but like we said earlier, this season has sort of been weirder than the first.
And when you're looking at Nathan's picks, you get what you get, okay?
yeah.
You take what you get.
So those are mine.
Okay, I'm gonna go next because I spoke the longest last segment. I'm gonna go through mine. So I am going through for Dylan. I'm gonna follow up with Casino Royale. That was definitely my favorite. It was really close because I remember I was the tiebreaker for favorite pick of the month because man, last rotation was really good. But Casino Royale, I was very surprised by that movie and really liked it from top to bottom. Really liked it. And then I'm gonna go with my favorite movie that I didn't pick was Train to Busan from Mason. So that was my favorite, and he picked that for my month. So
Double whammy.
double whammy there, double whammy. And then for Nathan, I scraped through trying to find something.
Sprinkle the fountain.
His fingernails are still dirty.
I picked Gangs in New York. I don't have particularly strong feelings for it. It's all right.
But it's the best that he gave me.
3 words. That's all you get.
Well,
We never line up, Nathan.
I'm not gonna buck the trend at all.
Oh boy.
Not one
Wait.
thing that I'm gonna say is any different from what these two have said.
Oh.
My favorite pick from Mason was Train to Busan. My favorite pick from Dylan was Casino Royale. My favorite pick from Bryce was Princess Mononoke.
You
So
love our
there's that.
content.
Wow, I thought people wanted to come to us for like different conversations.
Not
but
this- not
Turns
this
out
time.
3 out of 4
Right,
hosts
yeah.
just like the same damn movies.
Yeah.
Mine are actually all different from everyone you guys picked.
Cool.
All right, be different.
All right, so not to be a contrarian, it's just the ones that I picked.
Hey, you changed them.
Sure isn't. I have them wrote down. But Prices was actually The Night is Short. Mason's Two Prices This May was actually Brick. I love those genre mashups. Again, give me R-rated Recess and a sequel. I buy that sequel.
Yeah.
And this is kind of a cheating thing because I did already have watched it before Nathan had picked it, but whatever, I still love it. Blade Runner 2049. Damn, I forgot how much I love that movie. Once you start unpacking it on the second watch, and you're like, man, this is some cool shit. They've got a whole thing on the front of this coupe.
It's like your grandma's basement, you know?
Yeah.
Like you get to go down there every 15 years, and you're like, good lord, I could take this.
Well, my grandma's dead, so that basement is probably... I don't think she has a basement. I don't think she's ever had a basement. So that's a weird analogy to use. But Blade Runner 2049 is great. And Brick was great. Suck it, Price. And Night was almost on.
So, what's your favorite movie that you didn't pick overall? So I said mine was Train to Busan from Mason.
Oh, of the three?
Yeah.
Okay.
I know I'm not winning here.
I would
I'm
probably
just
say
curious.
Princess Mononoke, personally.
Oh.
Like, Casino Royale was good. What We Do in the Shadows, I do feel like it was just a recent kind of pick. But, you know, that's a James Bond movie. Princess Mononoke was just I don't know, prettier, and I had low expectations. I can't remember which one I had watched first between Kiki. Maybe I had seen Kiki first, and then that movie was a lot better. Yeah, exactly. That's probably what happened there. But I would probably give it to Princess Mononoke, I guess.
Nathan?
I'd probably go Train to Busan.
2 for that.
I know that didn't hit with you, but
I wouldn't go Train to Busan. I don't even
did
want to
too.
watch the sequel, but I probably will have to because they're gonna pick it.
Yeah.
Blade Runner 2049. Strangely enough, a Nathan pick is gonna come out and be really strong this one. Yeah,
Nathan, getting a point out of here.
2049. He's like, if I could just get Dylan's votes, get just one guy, get my score average up.
Look, I know we got one more topic to go.
Last and final one.
I'll let him go, and then I'm just gonna grab the reins.
Okay.
Okay.
Go for a conversation.
The last category that we're going to make you guys suffer through is most loved movie.
You don't even clean up your junk.
We're recording. Hurry. Yeah.
Alright, so do you think that yours probably finished?
I could repeat it just to make sure.
Okay.
Hey.
The lighting definitely didn't change or anything.
No, totally not.
It's
I feel
not-
like
it's
I'm
not
like
really-
We
squinting
didn't
at
even
it.
stop for 2 hours to play a board game or anything like
No.
that while
No.
we waited for a battery to charge.
Nathan, you'll edit this out. It'll be
We
okay.
are way more
Oh,
professional
yeah.
than that.
Yeah, absolutely.
Definitely no hiccups in our last video.
You know, right where we were.
Right there.
Right,
Yep.
right in it.
That
We're
spot.
at the last part
That last
where
part.
we're talking about our favorite movies of this whole season here.
Favorite movie of the season.
I'm gonna start, and to start, mine is going to be Blade Runner 2049.
Oh.
I know I'm picking
What
my
was the
own
first-
movie,
We
which
all are.
is
Yeah, totally.
that's probably good.
We all are.
That, to be fair,
We got a
that's-
10 and a 10.
It's okay.
Yeah.
So I'm
You can just
I'm
call
gonna
me
do the
handsome, it's
same.
okay.
I'm pretty sure I
Bam.
gave this one
Ah.
the highest rating out of the season. It deserves it. If it weren't as long as it is, I would give it a 10. It's a fantastic movie. Gorgeous. Could watch it several times. So that's my favorite of what we watched this go around. Not to say that there weren't a lot of great movies. I don't feel as bad about it as some others might.
Which we will get into.
Yeah.
Dylan.
I'm gonna go
Wait
with
your turn.
I'm gonna go with a little humble Christopher Nolan movie, a little indie side project called Inception.
You might not have heard about it.
The
You
OG.
gonna hit the 10 again?
No. There's your 10.
So I gave it a 10.
There it is.
I resent you.
I know you do. So it's mostly why I do the things that I do. Yeah, I mean, if you've seen our review of Inception, you'll know why I gave it a 10. But in short, it's got everything I like in it. Tom Hardy. Next.
No dong hanging.
You know, it's weird. because
Actually,
Legend
9.5.
was not-
No dong was hung in that film.
Yeah. There you go. I'm gonna give it to Fantastic Mr. Fox, obviously.
Don't sound so excited.
Well, here's the thing. So for all of these categories, we all jotted down either like 2 or 3 movies. I jotted down 5 for this category.
It's Fantastic Mr. Fox 5 times.
Yeah, 4 of which were my own movies. Train to Busan was one. I can't remember. Like Sing Street was another one. Just a lot of these like top hitters for me. Fantastic Mr. Fox, like I said, it's one of my 10s. I could watch that movie over and over. Probably seen it the most out of any movie that I've suggested throughout season 1 and 2. So it's probably the most watched. But yeah.
I really feel like when we did the theme of we're picking for each other, that was pretty indicative of how I think the season went. I got The Fountain and I got Brokeback Mountain from 2 of you. And I despised both of those movies. They were terrible. And then I got one movie I liked pretty well. That's about how the season was for me. Like all the other movies I thought were like either kind of decent or just trash. I mean, man. But I mean, my movies for me, I liked across the board because like I usually screen my movies beforehand before pitching it to them.
Don't believe that.
I definitely do. But maybe I need to stop doing that because it'll make it a bit more random, a bit more fun if I don't. But anyway, mine is going to go to, I think I gave 2 of my, like, not 10s, I think they were like 9s or 9.5, to The Departed and The Night is Short. And it's really hard for me to pick between the 2 because I like them a lot for different reasons. But I think I'm going to have to give it slight notes to The Night is Short because I feel like it's a very original movie that I haven't seen something like before. Departed, as good as it is, there are movies similar to it.
Any other Scorsese movie.
And, you know, I will say, too, that movie is a musical, basically, for much of it.
In a way. But I do like some musicals. Like
it's close to a musical.
Some music in the movie I'm okay with. Like this one does. And there's a musical that I'm picking later. I haven't done it yet, but I'm wanting to do it. And I've thrown spoilers for it around. He's not a fan. I don't care. But anyway, about mine, The Night is Short. It's got just like so many different themes, so many different things going on in the movie. It's a beautiful movie. Never seen an art style like it, and was definitely my favorite pick of the season. Would give it to The Departed. Sorry, I couldn't give it to another movie, but I think we all picked our own movies, so
yeah,
we're all selfish, I guess.
Yeah.
What can we say?
This season was just different. So.
Yeah, we did a lot of things this season, and I remember when like I think I pitched the DiCaprio month after the double one or something. Dylan was like, "Okay," Nathan was like, "I'm not hearing this conversation," and Mason was like, "No, I don't want to do it. I don't want to do it."
Mason was the only one that had the foresight to be like, "We should not." Roll themes over and over again.
Yeah.
I'll
and he was
this
right.
whole thing up. I'll do Great Gatsby. I swear to God.
And he did.
And I did.
And he loved it.
I can't stop. Do you guys want to let them in on what we have going on for the next season?
Well, that was
any hints.
Well, that was the end of this season. This studio will be going away.
We're gonna burn it down to the ground for the insurance money.
You won't see that picture.
I hope
burn that picture to the ground too.
Insurance companies, you're not allowed to watch this video. You'll never know that happened. But yeah, this studio's going away, and we will be moving studios. We're going to be starting some new projects on here, hopefully. Going to be doing a little bit of different stuff, and then we're going to start that off with a different theme.
Theme? No! We learned nothing from this last season.
You gotta disguise that word with something else. Use like
we'll call it
synonym.
something else.
Let's not call it a theme.
We'll call it a guest host series.
Yeah.
Guest host mini-series where we do exactly what we've always done, but we don't. None of us get to pick the movie, and one of our beloved fans. It's actually a fan giveaway. One of our many subscribers is gonna get picked. Definitely at random, and they're getting to pick. We're gonna let 4, maybe even 3 random subscribers get to pick movies for us on this next 4-week cycle. Coming up here soon. We're getting that all worked out in the details. So, whenever you're watching this, make sure to subscribe so we'll know who to pick. That should line up with the timeline of when this video drops. And we'll be in our new studio by then, so make sure to look forward to that. And we might be trying some new segments. We're going to work out some kinks. We're going to see what we like. We're going to see who's a dom, who's a sub. Make sure to tune in next season to see all the stuff we have in store, make sure to subscribe to this channel here below. There's a little button right down there, just right. Technically, I think it's right down and below
like
here.
right,
It's
yeah.
off to the right side, right around Price. Just go below him. There's a subscribe button. Hit that if you like the content. There's also a little bell right next to Price, which is funny because his last name is Bell. So hit the bell.
No, it's not. My last name is DiCaprio.
That's not true. Price Bell, go look him up. And yeah, you can just hit that. You can hit that bell to know whenever we post this stuff. And with our contests, don't let up at all with our video content. And we plug, but we don't do that anymore.
What are you gonna do?
We don't do that anymore.
Oops.
When did we stop doing that? Why did we stop?
Because I decided it. So that's our season 2, everybody. Make sure to tune in next
That's lame.
season. Sooner rather than later, we'll be back after a brief. You probably won't even notice based on right here.
It'll be like a week.
Yeah, you'll just see it on the playlist. We'll see y'all next weekish. Whatever. Bye.
Whatever.
It doesn't work, bro.
No, I turned it off.
Yeah, you did.
Don't give you animals